Hey, 4C divers! We are so sorry for the delay in getting on to our Facebook Live tonight. I've had some difficulties getting us logged into the timeline here. Some security questions that popped up. You know, that Facebook, they're always changing things on me and having a hard time. But hopefully everyone's here. I see some people listening in. All right, guys, thank you. All right, we're live. Woohoo! Thumbs up all over the place. Give us a hello in the comments section. Tell us where you're listening in from. And also, I want to see your emojis. Give me your favorite shark emojis. So like if you like tiger sharks, do a tiger and then the shark emoji. Or if you like a lemon shark, do a lemon and a shark. All right. So let's see some of those cool emojis popping up in the comment section. All right, guys. So if you do not know 4C, we are a dive center here in South Florida, and we've got 4 locations, soon to be 5. We're going to have another one pop up here in November. But basically, guys, what we are all about is about diving community and getting you guys information about what's going on here locally with the animals that we love to dive with. So we partner with the American Shark Conservancy. And I've got a great presentation for you guys tonight. So we will get to our guest presenter in just a second. But if you go to our website, go to www.force-e.com and go to our page and you'll see Shark Month. That is right, guys. September is 4C Shark Month, where everything shark related we try to do during this month. So that being said, we do great talks, we do presentations, and we do fundraisers, and we do all kinds of things to help the local shark populations and the global shark populations. So if you guys want to learn more about sharks, that is a great resource. Also on the timeline, go to our event page, our tab, find tonight's presentation and register. I know if you have already done it, great, you're going to be put in the raffle. You only have a few minutes left to register, so go there and get in there, and we're gonna raffle off some things for tonight. So, all right, we've got people saying hello. All right, awesome. Give us a thumbs up if you like the presentation, heart emoji, or a smiley face. And again, sorry for the delay, you guys, but we have a fantastic presentation. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let Deborah go ahead and tell her about yourself and about the organization.
Cool. Sounds good. Could everybody hear me? All good? All right, so let me go ahead and start. So, hey, my name is Deb. I am a research assistant with the American Shark Conversancy, and I'm also a National Geographic Young Explorer. I'm going to chat a little bit about the project that we've been working on and the background behind it. So, introducing myself, I was born in Brazil, and I came here to the United States when I was 3 years old. And I remember my interest in marine science started when I was in middle school. My science teacher was talking about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill and about like the catastrophe that happened with like the ocean and the animals that were involved. And I remember just thinking like how crazy it is that the ocean's massive, but it's also so vulnerable. And that kind of got me thinking and got me starting to think about conservation. So I started watching documentaries, and I started just going through like the National Geographic Kids magazines and just reading as much as I can just to get involved in conservation and to know what's going on in the world. And then fast track, a couple years later, I went to a Marine Magnet High School where I got my first shark tagging experience. And then in college, I went to Florida Atlantic University, and that's where I met this awesome organization called American Shark Conservancy. I started working with American Shark Conservancy about 4 or 5 years now, and it's a great program because it's science and outreach. So it's not only conducting the studies and seeing the results, but it's also involving the public. And it's a pretty great organization. I started getting involved. And then I actually graduated from FAU in December. And after a couple of years of experience in the shark field, I started to see that there wasn't really people that looked like me. I'm Brazilian, I'm Latina. So coming from like a minority background, it was really difficult for me to kind of get experiences that are not like flying to the Bahamas or leaving the country. And so I started to kind of think, and I met this organization called MISS, Minorities in Shark Science, and that's pretty much what they're all about. They're about connecting and networking with women like me and people from different colors and genders, and just getting them involved in the science field. And so in December, I graduated from FAU, and I started to think about my future, what I wanted to do. and I was named a National Geographic Young Explorer. So what this means is that I've received a grant with National Geographic, and now I'm conducting shark research throughout this year. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm up to now. So it's called the Florida Shark Surveys. So the whole goal behind this is that American Shark Conservancy designed a long-term monitoring program to investigate human-centered and environmental impacts of local shark populations. Pretty much what that means is that we know that sharks are here in Jupiter. There's a bunch of sharks everywhere. Diving is a big thing in Florida. Shark diving is also a big thing. So what we're doing is we're using that experience that people have with sharks, the people that are there in the water every single day, seeing them, diving with them. We're using that to collect data. We're trying to monitor the diversity and the distribution and abundance of sharks in Jupiter. So those dive operators that you guys see in Jupiter going out, they're collecting information for us. So they're telling us what species are in the area, what species interact with each other. Do they see any weird markings on them? Do they see a hook and like a line tagging along? So we're kind of trying to get an idea of who's in this area, who's leaving, who's coming back, and what species that we see over and over again. But then kind of tying in with my background, so with this grant, I really wanted to engage underrepresented students with the community. Because I came from like a minority background and I had struggles like finding experiences and opportunities, I wanted to give back in a way. So my goal was to bring students on the boat who has never seen a shark. Some students have never even been in the ocean before. And we basically throw them in the water and they go swimming with sharks and they help us collect information, which we'll talk about a little bit later, how we collect that data. So through that, like, yeah, it's fun jumping in the water with sharks and bringing students on the boat and mentoring them and showing them the process. But we're also trying to address fundamental gaps in research through diversity and future scientists. So I really believe that if there's diversity in scientists and people from around the world that are involved in research, there will also be diversity in thought. And that's how we can make change. So how does it work? How do you measure the sharks? How do you get in the water with them? Like, how does this all come to be? So pretty much this is non-invasive, meaning we don't touch the sharks, we don't take them on the side of the boat, we don't bring them on the boat, we don't get a measuring tape to measure them. It's non-invasive methods, we don't touch them. What we do is we have a safety diver and we have a shark diver, we get in the water and we have a bait crate, so you can see over here. The bait crate has the bait and we have divers, well, it's all free diving with the students. So we'll have the students come in the water and there's a camera with paired lasers at the end that have a precise length. And so what we do is when the shark swims by, they just hold up the camera and it measures the length, which is pretty cool, right? Like technology like that, pretty awesome. So we don't have to tag the sharks. We don't have to measure them. We just hold the cameras up and they swim by and it measures them as well. So that's how we get the length of it. Then we also visualize and see the different species and it's kind of really interesting when we put it in this program. It's called Image J. And what we do is when we upload the photos from the dives, we see the lasers at the end. And if you can see, where is it? Over here, you can look and see like that is in like centimeters. So you convert that and that's how we see the length of the sharks. So it's really interesting, like pulling that data in through the program and measuring them that way. It's something that I was new to and Hannah from American Shark Conversancy showed me how to do. So that's a really fun way to collect the information. Some other data that we collect while we're underwater is also looking at unique markings. So if you can see the indentation of the pectoral fins, sometimes sharks have like weird markings on them. We don't know if it's from like, I don't know, something with a boat or with a diver or with like a net or a fishing line. So it's really interesting to kind of see if maybe some sharks in a specific area are getting the same injuries, or if we're seeing the same shark, because we can identify it from this marking. If we're seeing the same shark over and over again, it's hanging out in our area. So that's kind of some of the data that we get to see. We just look at long-term human effects. And then this is like the data log. So when we go out on the boat, I have the students come back out of the water and we go over what we saw. So of course we put the date, the operator that we're working with, and it's really important for us to put the weather, the surface currents, and the depth and all that information, because sometimes you can see trends of if it's really nice out, but the current is ripping, maybe we might not see a lot of sharks. Maybe we might see a specific species of sharks. And it's also kind of good to know if there's a lot of boats in the area. So if there's a lot of dive boats out or fishing boats out, are the amount of sharks that we're seeing less or more. And so over time, we can see those trends and kind of identify areas in Jupiter or along the coast of Florida of where we see these species. And then we also look, so when we go through the data sheet, we'll have the students sit down and tell us, what species did you see? Can you know and identify like the sex and what it is? What about the length? So we kind of like pretty much like eyeball the length, and then we go on the computer and we measure it. We also have them look at the markings. Did you guys see anything weird on the fins? Did you see anything weird on the dorsal fin? And then we also identify behaviors. So it's interesting to see that depending on the species and how they interact with each other. A few weeks ago, we went on a dive and we had one lemon shark, a female lemon shark, on our third dive. And she was super like, I love lemon sharks. They're my favorite sharks to dive with because I just feel like they don't know anything about personal space. They just bump into you and they're like, hey, what's up? What's this? What's that? And so we have them identify those behaviors to see if alone, how they interact with people, but also with other species. So what we kind of see the trend is that bull sharks like to just like hover down and they're not as interactive as lemon sharks. And sometimes we'll have a shark call itself like the alpha. So that shark will be eating while everyone else is just hovering down there. So you can kind of see like a hierarchy kind of thing going on with the sharks, which is why we like to identify the behaviors, because again, with the trends over time, we can see, is one species acting this way or something like that. So it's been a really great time getting to know the students. We've had students as young as 14 years old on the boat and as old as 26. So it's really a variety of students in different areas of their career, some in high school, some graduating college, some even getting into their master's degree. So it's been a really great opportunity just showing them what Jupiter is all about, showing them the species that we have here, teaching them how to collect data and how to interpret that data as well. So that is pretty much the Shark Surveys project. We've been doing this for the last few years, but this National Geographic grant has been starting for this year. So I know a lot of people are like, I love sharks. I watch Shark Week all the time. How do I get involved? I'm interested in conservation. How do I help save them? So one of the things I like to say is to be shark smart. Learn more about sharks by attending talks like this. You look for credible researchers, people that will also publish papers, or they'll conduct research, and you know that they're credible. Also, join the Shark Squad. You educate yourself about the importance of sharks. I know there's controversies and everything going on with like, why are sharks important? Why do we need them in our ocean? So kind of like informing yourself about that is a way that you can help and you can bring awareness. Also donating money, time, and resources. So if you don't have the opportunity to jump in the water with sharks and like, expand research and stuff like that, you can donate to organizations like American Shark Conversancy or MISS and equip people so they can do that as well. Also, you do that by supporting effective projects. So if you want to stay connected, I put my social media over there. I also put MISS. Their website is over there as well. If you're any gender, any color, and you're interested in getting started in the field, but you don't know anyone around you that's doing something like this, I highly recommend signing up and becoming a member of MISS. They really helped me along the way with finding people that I connect with. And also American Shark Conversancy has been amazing, and Hannah has been like the best mentor ever. So I definitely recommend getting involved with American Shark Conversancy. And that's my presentation. Nice. I can't hear you.
There we go.
All right. There you are.
We answered someone's question. They wanted to know what your favorite shark was to swim with. You said a lemon shark, so that's good.
Love them. They're so fun.
Has the project collected enough data to give any kind of hypothesis of what's going on with our shark populations here?
So we've had data for the last 4 to 5 years. We can see small trends, but really looking at like a big difference, like if the water temperature affects it or the salinity of the water, it's really like even bigger years, like over a longer period of time. So it's not something you can say definitely this is exactly what's affecting it, but it gives us an idea of this is a possibility.
And do you guys share your data with other groups? And also, do do these surveys, are they similar to surveys other places in the world?
So this is actually the first baseline monitoring program in Florida that is happening. So it's the first time that someone is taking data over time, looking at trends of species, looking at behaviors of species. So not in Florida. And we do collaborate with other organizations. So MISS, Minorities in Shark Sciences, we are actually partnering with some of the founders, and we're working on some fun projects. So that's definitely something that we strive for. Even like, especially me as a scientist, I don't want to just collect all this data and be like, mine, mine, mine. I want to create change, and I want to see changes in conservation. And so I want to share that information, and I want to work with other people.
Okay. All right. How do you believe a project like this can help inspire and equip students to pursue a career like this in the future?
That is a great question. So, really, when I was in high school and like getting into college, it was difficult for me to find experiences if I wasn't like I said before, going to the Bahamas and stuff like that, until I found American Shark Conservancy. And that's where I really found like a girl squad and a family where I can chat about and cry about organic chemistry and just talk about like research that I want to do. And so that inspired me to pursue a career in this field. And so I want to do the same. So I believe a project like this can help inspire and equip students by giving them experiences. So they're in the water with the sharks, they're learning how to collect data, they're also learning how to analyze data, and they're learning how to present data. So I also think it's important for us to not only do all this research, but be able to talk to the public about it so the public can be informed. And so they're getting equipped with that, and they're also creating relationships within each other, and we're mentoring them along the way.
Awesome. Okay. And can you, because some people that are listening in don't really know much about the South Florida sharks. And so when you're looking at the different species that we have, I mean, obviously we have some that are protected in the state waters and some that aren't. Can you give us that which ones are protected in state waters versus the ones that are not?
Yeah. So also like going back to what you had kind of mentioned, like people don't really know what different species are like here and things like that. So we pretty much need more data to kind of confirm the movement of tigers and hammerheads, but there are seasonal trends and we can see that over time. Pelagic sharks like silkies are here in the summer. And then of course we know the big migration of black tips. So they move down in the spring, and you can see trends like that over time. Also, Kajura at FAU was looking at the movement and the migration of the sharks, but we also have some black tips that are local and they stay here in the area. So
yeah, and like I know that it's been not that long ago that they put the lemon shark on the protected list for state waters, the 3 species of hammerheads, and all the tigers. Is there anything being proposed in the future that you guys are working to get put on the ban list?
Yeah, so well, especially with like the lemon sharks, we are collecting a bunch of information with that, and that will help with habitat assessment and possibly change and add different species. So our data is not only being helped like with the students and give them opportunities, but it's also going like getting put into regulations and helping with looking at trends over time.
Because I know like a lot of people are concerned about the silkies, the sandbars. They're not under protection that I'm aware of.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically just over time, looking at trends, looking at their movements. It's hard to kind of tell from. That's why we also dive in like different areas of Jupiter, but it's a little difficult kind of to tell like where they're going and stuff like that if there's also not tagging involved as well. But we're not planning on proposing any other species as of right now.
Okay. And then when it comes to diving with them, they all have different personalities. When you guys are collecting that data, it's not just the different personalities of each. Like you can have like 3 different lemon sharks and they all have different personalities. But like as a whole, like is it easy to kind of point out, well, lemon sharks are more like this, tiger sharks are more like this? Like, have you guys noticed any differences of the shark species in that? I don't know if I'm saying the question
I
right.
get it. Yeah. So it's like It's really funny though, because like I said, lemon sharks are my favorite. But yeah, of course, every shark is different, just like dogs. Every dog's personality is different. But we kind of know, like maybe Australian shepherds like to bite people, and they're really hyperactive. Kind of like with sharks, that I believe in a way is that lemon sharks are just very interactive. They're very curious animals. Bull sharks are more like, I don't want to say keep to themselves, but they just kind of stay a little bit far away. They don't get super close up or anything like that. And then black tips as well. They're not super as interactive as lemon sharks. And then hammerheads, like I have never seen a hammerhead super close up. They usually just like hang out at the bottom. So we can see like different species have different personalities, which is, I think, is cute.
Definitely. And it's interesting too, because we're talking about the lemon sharks. They usually have a season, right? So during the winter months is when they would show up in big numbers. And some of you guys that are out there that are listening have been diving with them during those time periods. And it was like they would line up on the sand in like lines out by the wrecks up in the Jupiter area. And we just aren't really seeing that anymore. And I do know, talking with Hannah a little bit, that getting these surveys are going to be helpful for us to maybe figure out what happened with those big populations and maybe why we're not seeing them anymore. Because it could be a number of things. It could be fishing pressures. It could be habitat loss, prey loss in that area, temperature change. Did I say that one? Temperature changes yet? No, temperature changes.
Yeah.
And so it's all these different things that can push maybe an animal out of an area that we're seeing them for so long. I mean, I don't know if you guys are paying attention this year to the Goliath grouper aggregation, but really we're only seeing them up on the wrecks in Jupiter. I mean, the Santa Cecilia is only getting like less than 10. The Castor is only like less than 10. I mean, these sites, guys, I have been on them where it's like 40, 50 of these fish. And so it's like, okay, what's going on? Is it, again, it could be a number of things: fishing pressures, temperatures, their food source is not there, the habitat, they want to be somewhere else now. So using that information that you guys are collecting, and then some other people hopefully are chiming in, hopefully we can figure out what's going on with the lemon sharks and maybe why we're not seeing them in the big numbers like we used to. But the other thing too is, in future shark research, using maybe some new technologies to help us. And so I know you guys have been involved with shark tagging and putting the tags inside them so that they will ping when they swim by the transmitters that are set up throughout the area. How much are you guys doing of that aspect of your research these days?
So we're also American Shark Conversancy does a lot of different research projects, and one of them is also being like the hammerhead, which I'm sure some people have heard about. Is kind of looking at the post-release mortality rate of hammerheads. So how we study that and see, like, after a hammerhead is caught, once it's released, what happens to it? Where does it go? Does it survive? Does it not survive? Things like that. And so that's one of the projects that we're doing to kind of look at that. Is we tag them, and it's like satellite information. And over time we get specific data, and that's how we can look at that as well. But there is a couple projects that we're putting in to propose. There is like some areas in Jupiter that there is a huge like abundance of diversity and just different species of animals, not only sharks, but like manta rays and some weird things that are just going on. And so that's like one of the projects that we want to work on in the future, is to kind of see like what's going on in this area. Why is there an increase in diversity and habitat? And then also just chatting with other scientists like Kajira with FAU. He's been looking at trends over 10 years. And of course, everyone knows about the black tip migration, but he's been seeing that, they've been coming far down to West Palm, but after a few years, they're not really coming as far down anymore. The waters are getting warmer. They're not coming down from North Carolina as often. They're staying kind of up there, coming a little bit south like Jupiter, but not as far down as West Palm. And so that's some of the projects that we're like looking to work on in the future. But tagging is also a really great way to kind of collect information and look at movement of sharks.
Awesome. Okay, I think we got all of the questions. If you have more questions, Deb, can you go back one slide just so they can see all the social media and where they can get a hold of you guys?
Yes. Back.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yep. So if you guys want to stay connected, so we're doing like I said, a bunch of fun projects with American Shark Conversancies, and also looking at like reproduction in silkies and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested, you want to get involved, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow American Shark Conservancy, and you guys can reach out to one of us and we can chat with you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, before we stop, hold on. We're going to do our raffle. So, guys, we are raffling off one of the Board of Water shark hats. So, I'm going to go ahead and pick from the random name picker. Loading the result. Come on. Angie. Angie's our big winner for our Born of Water shark hat. Woohoo! I know Angie. Hi, Angie.
I know Angie too.
She's, I think, a volunteer for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give out another prize. Oh, gosh, what happened? I'm going to go ahead and give out another prize. I'm going to do one of the 4C shark shirts. So, winner is Cheryl Black. Cheryl, if you're listening in, give us a woohoo in the comment section. All right, so the two winners tonight, I'm going to be emailing you guys how to get your prize and after this presentation. So you're just going to go ahead and email me back so that I know what store you want to pick up your goodies at. Guys, if you're at all interested in learning more about the American Shark Conservancy, like I said, go to their social media outlets. And if you want to learn more about what 4C is offering when it comes to sharks, we have shark dives, and we have a shark dive scheduled to go to Bimini in December. That only has 5 spots left. So guys, this is a trip you do not want to miss. If you want to go see some Bimini hammerhead sharks, that's the trip you want to get on. It's a day trip, super easy. Just we go over on the ferry, do our dives, and we come back that day. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I guess I should mention, everyone, please stay safe and stay dry. See ya.
Bye.